Okay, everybody, this is the pre-recorded screencast that I promised you that I would do. This screencast is going to be for tomorrow. It will be for both sections, so you'll all see the same thing. And I want to take a few minutes before I talk about case number 5. This is access case number 5 we're going to look at today and talk about where we are in the course and what's going on, and so we kind of get ourselves acclimated. So I'm going to pop us down here to the modules, okay? And I'm going to close this welcome module off. It's got a lot of stuff in it. And of course, we'll come down here. This is module 11, and week 11, excuse me. And of course, Good Friday is there's no class, so your work is due on Thursday. Now, we have already done Excel cases 12 and 13. So you should have already uploaded that work. It should be there. And as I said before, we're working ahead, all right, on these workshops, the Excel workshops and the Access workshops, so you can have an opportunity to have some slack time as we move into the final weeks of the semester. Now, we worked on access case number 4 yesterday, or access workshop number 4. And of course, I've got, uploaded here, and I've got files there that we used yesterday. So you should have already uploaded your response or the workshop file. Now, I'm going to scroll on down here, and let's take a look at week 13, and it says no class, flex time, work on the week 14 assignments. Okay, so I'm trying to give you some flex time. Okay, now I will be online during your class periods, as well as over at Shawnee. I'll be over there and be online. Well, if I'm in Shawnee and you're remote, you can send me an email and tell me you need to talk to me. Otherwise, then on Thursday, which would be a virtual day, I'll be online over here in the classroom. So if you have questions or problems, I can try to help you with them. But let's talk for a moment just about the week 14 assignments. Because up here I specifically tell you, work on the stuff for week 14. And here's week 14. I have a spatial analysis exercise for you. I have explicit directions there for you to follow. So we're gonna do a little work with some simple mapping tools. Okay. And then I have a place for you to upload that. And then I have instructions for the self-developed quiz on the Davenport text, all right? And then I'll ask you to upload the Davenport self-developed quiz. Now, let's go up here to the Files section, and I'm going to find the syllabus. And this is for spring 2019. Okay. And here are the 4 textbooks for the course. The few texts show me the numbers. Then the Microsoft data analysis and business modeling text, that's the Winston text we used for those workshops in Excel. And then the Lambert text, which is the one we use for the workshops and Access. And then this book, Competing on Analytics, okay, by Davenport and Harris. And it's a required text. So I'm going to have you to create a self-developed quiz out of it. And I have instructions there for you. So let's go back to the modules. Okay. We'll close that off. We'll go back into the modules. And then it should become readily apparent what we're doing. That's why I'm giving you that week. So week 12, we did access case number 4 today. So yesterday, pardon me. So you should have that uploaded. Okay. Now, week 13, I tell you, no class time, no class. You have flex time to work on the week 14 assignments. Okay. These are some projects. This is the spatial analysis exercise. Like I said, I have very explicit instructions and tell you what to do. It's a chance to let you use some mapping tools. Then here are the instructions for the self-developed quiz from the Davenport text, and the spot to upload it. Then workshop, access workshop 5 and 6, okay? Now I'm gonna do access case number 5, and this will be for tomorrow. And so you'll wanna look at it, okay? And then upload the work for the workshop credit. Access workshop case number 6 is due there in week 14. And again, I'll do a broadcast. I'll do a pre-recorded broadcast that covers it. Okay? And again, during the class sessions of these 2 weeks, I'll be in my office in Shawnee, or I'll be online exclusively in this class, so that if you have a question, I can help you. All right? And of course, you get my weekly schedules so you know what's going on in terms of my schedule, where I'm at, etc. Then we come into finals week. You know, time's moving pretty fast. And so finals week is the week of the 13th through the 16th. So now you understand why I've pushed you and we've pushed through with these access cases, so you've got time to work on your finals. And as I mentioned up here, this is class time to work on week 14 assignments, okay, and finals. You see I put my cursor there and it went ahead and gave you the full message. So you should have your week, during week 13, you need to do all the stuff for week 14 so that you're ready to work on your final, or you're already working on your final. Let's talk about that. I'll do it a few more times. The spring final schedule, I've got that here for you. You have a final exam part 1. I have instructions for you. Okay, I have a screencast of instructions for final exam part 1. I have, and then I tell you, upload your Microsoft Access file here, and then Excel. You're going to be doing a little bit of work, cleaning up some data, doing a little bit of analysis, etc. Then final exam part 3, that's due at 12:15. So I have this work here, okay, that's due at the end. This is due at the start of the final exam period, final exam part 1, the access file, and then the Excel part of that. Those are due. And then you have the final exam part 2, okay, and that's due at the end of the final exam period, okay? All right, and I'll go back through this again so that you stay on track. All right, so we're going to look today at access case number 5, okay, and I have the file here that has the resources, the resource file for the Microsoft Access cases. And we're going to look at a call center DB, creating queries, searching for records, sorting and grouping and reporting. And we're going to be working with Hollister University, which is access case 5. And then we're going to work with Garden 03, which is out of chapter 3, okay? So let's first of all start with that access case 5. Okay. And it should be either in the files or over in the welcome area. So I'm going to go up here for the welcome area first and open up that module. And I'm just going to do a quick search, control F, and anything that has a 5 in it ought to pop up. Hopefully. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And let's move on through here. There is an XLS5 with that's we want to access, not XLS. We're going down here. And we've got the access case 3 done. We've got 6 done. Here's the file that we want. It's called ACCDB 5 done SP15. Like I said, these are old cases, and so I can show you some stuff a little more. I can show you some of the shortcuts I took, etc. So we're gonna download that one. And it's called Hollister. It's about a university and some of the recruiting efforts. And I've got it showing in my folder. And so I'm going to take it down here to my desktop and hopefully it will show up. There it is. Okay. And now I'm also after the file out of chapter 3. So I'm going to go back into the files. And these are from the access cases, the Lambert text. And this is the access companion content. That's a zip file that has all those in there. And I think I have that on my desktop. I'm working on a recording right there. And we'll open that up, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to find chapter 3, and it's Garden Company 03. Now notice there's a logo. Yesterday when we worked on workshop number 4, and that was Garden 11, you'll remember that we had a logo and an icon, and we had used it. We saw how it was used to create a form, to spruce up a form. Of course, a form is what we use to put data into a table. So we'll look at Garden Company, and I'm going to copy it, okay, and paste it onto my desktop. Now, just to make sure I'm in good shape, I'm going to take Hollister and I'm going to open it up, okay? I'm going to enable the content, and then I'm going to save it on my desktop. And then when you're finished, you'll of course want to upload it. You'll want to upload it back for your credit. In fact, I'm just going to put Hollister and then Harmon. And put it on my desktop, and I'm going to save it. Okay. Like I said, this is one of my old cases. Now let's go ahead and let's get Garden Company 3, and we'll get that file, right? And I think that's the one, the Garden Company. That's Garden Company 11. I want the 3 file that I renamed. There's Hollister. Okay, yeah. Here's Garden Company 3. And I'm going to rename it Garden Company 3 Harmon. And then we'll open it up and take a look in just a minute. Now, back up here for a moment. All right. And I'm going to go over to where I keep my books. That's at Vital Source. Okay. And I'll log in here and we'll be ready to roll here in a sec. As I've said before, make sure this is right. And we'll put in the password. And there we go. I'll go back here to the table, to the library. And I was working in management science today. So here's the text we want. This is the Lambert and Cox text. And this time we're working in chapter 3, creating forms. Again, tables are the heart of a database. A form is how we keep that heart beating because we use forms to input data into a table, right? And again, this chapter, this book, they will walk you step by step to create a form. You can just follow them along. Okay. It's got those steps for you to create the form. And they show you there the form layout tools. Okay. And they give you everything you would want to know and not want to know about creating forms. So you've got that practice file over there. And that's a nice segue for me to go ahead and take a look at that Garden Company 3. And we'll just open it up here. On my desktop, and I'll save it. Okay, we'll do Garden Company 3, Harmon. See if that does the trick. Yeah, it did. Okie dokie. Now, I've bumped open the shutter on this database, and this shows us all the access objects, and all they have there are tables. Okay, we talked about this yesterday about what we call dimension tables, and those are tables that are about some variable or characteristic. Then we have what we call the fact tables. These are tables that contain, like, how many units we sold, that kind of thing, at what price. And then we have what we call a production table, and that's when we take those dimension table and we match it to the records in the fact table, and so we produce a set of records. Okay, let's look at this and let's create a form. Okay, as I said before, you've got the Lambert and Cox text to work through and practice through for you to do that. and it will explain some things to you that as I walk through that, but we'll just do this. We'll do a form or two. Because I don't believe we need to do a whole lot more. So I'm going to click create. All right. I click the create tab. And I have a blank form design, the form wizard, or more forms. I'm going to click more forms. And it says it's going to let me do the, I guess I'm going to click on a table. Let's see what they'll do. Oh, there they go hot. Now, we're going to make a form for the categories table. Okay. And so I'm gonna create a thing called a split form. And watch what happens. I've created the categories form. So if I'm going to be putting in any more categories, this is back with that same company, all right, then I'll input them here. If I want to, all right, I can go down to the design view of this. I can go to the layout view, pardon me, and I can, reduce this, whatever I choose to do there. Then I have the design view, and it's at this point I want to tell you about the different parts of a header. Pardon me, the different parts of a form. First of all, you got the form header. Okay. Then you have the details, and that's usually going to be data that you input into the form. And then you have a footer. The header here, of course, is the name of the form. Now, if I want to, I can do a little bit of customization here. All right. Now, if I have a image or something I want to import or a logo, I can do that. And I'm going to click on the logo and see if I have one. Don't have any. But if I wanted to, I could try to insert an image. And I'll browse for images. Okay. See if we have any images here. Let's see if we've got any images, any pictures. And we'll just do this. Now remember, we don't have any saved pictures. But remember, you had a logo in that file, so you could just simply open it up and put the logo in here. You can change the backdrop. You can do a lot of work with the forms here. Again, you can even add different properties, change them. There's a lot you can do in chapter 3. We'll walk you through all of that. But all you really need to know is this, because I doubt you'll be designing forms, but you need to understand they need to be designed well and understand that they're designed to work with a table. So we've got our categories, and we're going to go back up to the form view. And this split view lets me see, as I'm entering data, how it changes the table. Okay? So I'm going to save this. Now I'll save it as categories. And there we are. And you'll see now under here the forms, we have now the icon. Now, before we go any further with this, all right, one of the things we want to do is take a look at some of the database tools. So let's click on that. All right. And I'm going to close that categories file off. And we're going to click on relationships. And we'll add the tables. And if we want to add multiples, we'll do control. And let's see if we've related any of them. Now, let's get them separated out a little bit here. We've got these different types of forms, okay? Now, I've got categories, customers, employees, order details, and orders. And I've got this thing over here called category 1. Let's get rid of it. So we'll just hide the table. Customers 1, we'll hide the table. These are some extraneous. So we've got our categories, the customers, we've got employees, we've got the order details table, okay? We've got the orders table, we've got the products table, we got the shippers table, and we have the suppliers. Now let's look at this for just a minute and think about all of these tables, have a primary key. Okay? Now, let's look at the categories form. We see that the category ID is it's called the primary key. And let's see if in any of these other in these other tables that we have a field for categories. Look. And we're looking over here. And there we are. The products table. And look here what we've got going on. I've got the category ID, and down here in the products table, okay, I have category IT. So we're going to join these two tables. It's very simple here in the GUI. I'm just going to take the category ID and come over here, and you see how it goes to a little add. And then I get the edit relationships dialog box. We talked about some of this yesterday, okay? And about how we have different kinds of joins. An inner join, which is a pure intersection. A left join, where we have everything in table A and then where it matches with table B. Or a right outer join, where we have everything in table B, okay, that matches with table A. Or the Venn diagram, okay? So we're going to click Enforce Referential Integrity, and notice it says relationship type is one-to-many, okay? And let's create that and see what it looks like. You say, well, this is odd, okay? I have category ID, but how is it that I have multiple category IDs? Well, if you're all here, I'd ask the question, and once out of the silence, someone might say, well, we have this list of products, so maybe we have several products that fit within a particular category, and you'd be correct. Okay? So we've linked those two tables up. Now, let's look over here at the orders table. And we don't see any key over in the orders table. We don't see any primary key, which is interesting. Let's look at the customers table, and let's see if we have any other customers fields in any other tables. Order details. The orders table. Customer ID. I just put my cursor here. and then I put enforce referential integrity, and I create it. You'll notice here that I have a one-to-many relationship. Hopefully, our customers will buy an infinite amount of stuff from us. So that's why you see the 1 and then the little infinity sign. Now, just to make sure that we kind of keep it correct, I'm just going to manipulate these two around with my cursor. And so I see here that I have these tables linked up. The customers and the orders table, and the categories and the products table. Okay? Now let's look at the employee ID. And do we have employee ID in the table? Yes, we do. We have one that matches, it goes right into the employee ID. That we can take that field, and we also have the employee ID over here in the orders table. Now, enforce referential integrity, we'll create it. Now we have something interesting, and let me move these back for a minute so that you can see what we're looking at, or talking about real quickly. I have the orders table, which contains customer ID, because we have, hopefully our customers will make multiple orders. Then on the employee ID of the employees table, I've linked it into the employee ID in the orders table, because these are the people who sold them or took the order or are handling the order or whatever. Okay? Now, we've got something interesting going on here with this orders table. So let's see if there's anything else here, okay, that would match up. We'll look at the order details. Look at that. We have the order ID. Out of the order details, we can link that up. And we got something strange there with the order D, but we do have them matched. And you can see how we've started linking these tables together, as I've talked about before. Product ID. Are there any of these that have the product ID? Well, we have in the order details, we have product ID, and we have product ID in the order details. So we're going to match these two up. Okay. Now we can continue on with the shipped tables and the suppliers. Now let's see if we've got a supplier ID in here anywhere. Yes, we do. We have supplier ID over here in the products table. We'll take this. As you see, as we begin to join these, all right, we start to see the pattern. We talked about that one case yesterday where we basically had what we called a star pattern. We have shippers that doesn't have a primary key and doesn't seem to have anybody that it belongs to. I want you to notice something. Notice that the orders has a lot of linkages. In fact, the orders table, we have employer ID. Let's see, order date. We have anything that matches up there? No. On the orders, do we have description? No, but on the orders, we have unit price. I've got the unit price here, and I just want to go ahead and link these two up. Let's just do that. Lettuce. Says it already has a relationship. So you can see we talked about that idea of a schema, or how we design these. We've joined all these tables up. Well, let's close this. Okay. And now we've got the form for categories, and we did a split form there. Let's go to customers and let's create a form. So I'll click on customers and I'll click create. And I'm going to go, whoop. Got something strange there. Now let me see what's going on here, folks. That's weird. All righty. Let's click create. And then we will click more forms. We need to click on an object. So we'll click on Hollister again. And pardon me. Oh, this is Hollister. I want to go back to the garden one. No wonder I had that weirdness. Sorry about that, folks. I mixed and matched my tables. All right. Now, let's pin this to here. That was strange. Now I want to have employees. I can create, I'll click create, and I'm going to come over to more forms. And this time I'm going to use a multiple items, which is not really very nice. So I'm going to kill that off. No, I don't want to do that. I think I'll click create. And we have more forms. We don't want to do a data sheet. We've already done. Split forms. Let's look at the model dialog, which is basically the bare bones. So we don't want it. Well, we can also use up here. We'll click on employees and click create. And we can use the form wizard, and we can just get all of the fields in that table. We can click next, the columnar, tabular. They'll show you what it's going to look like. And let's stick with the columnar. And there we have. And then the rest there in chapter 3 just talks about how do I tweak this, make it look nice, etc. And you can create a form for every one of these tables and customize it however you want. Now, I'm going to close this off, and I'm going to go back to Hollister, and let's talk about it. Hollister is an old case. It involved a university that was its enrollment management folks, and they wanted to use forms to better be able to handle incoming phone calls and to make outgoing calls to prospective students. And then they also have us run some queries using some specific kinds of criteria that were set out by the faculty and the enrollment management committee and those folks. Okay. Now you'll notice we've got tables, queries, and reports, but we don't have a form. Okay. So let's just go ahead and create one. Just click create. And let's do the form wizard. And we'll throw everything over there. And click next, next, and we'll finish, and there's our form. Now, let's say that I have a call center so that I have prospective students calling into me, okay? And I want to answer their questions. They call in, they have questions about their enrollment or this or that. Well, here I have a form so that when Goodman calls in, or we might even say, you know, do you have what's your first name or your last name? And here you have a search box. And we have their address and all that type of stuff here. And we can also, if we wanted to add in another comments column, right, that we could get some notes about this person. Okay? And we'll go down to the design view. Okay? And I just want to go ahead and create. Well, there's a number of things. First, this is a button I can control. I've got some option groups here. I can insert a chart. These are controls. I could put in the logo, date and time, all of that type of stuff. And what I want to do is I want to insert this. Has some images I could put in here, but I want to attach comments. So I'm going to press this. And I'll move this over here. And let's go up and take a look at the form view and see what we have. Okay. Now I've created this little attachment, but it's not doing a lot for me. It's dead. So I have to go back here and let's go down to the design view. And let's see. I think instead I want to do it. I'm going to get rid of this for a minute. I'm not going to get rid of it for a minute. I'm going to get rid of it for good. And let's see if we should have the ability just to insert a little bit of a form. I mean, comments. Got a label. Subform, subreport. All right. Let's do this. Let's close this off. And we're not going to save this because we're going to go back to Hollister over here. And let's go back to the table and let's open it up in design view. And under the ethnic, we're going to put comments. That's going to be the easiest way to add that to the table, and it'll be short text. Okay. And we'll go up to the view. We'll save it, yes. And then you'll notice here, we have a place to put comments. So now we're ready to close this off. We'll save it. Now we can do our form. Click Database Tools. Pardon me. Create. And we're going to go to the form wizard. Select the fields. There we are. Now we can put comments in here like is a puppy named Joey, is a big OU Sooner fan. Comments or stuff that was supposed to have been mailed to them hasn't gotten there, or they're asking about the deposit. You'd probably have a lot more space allocated, but here you can put some comments about that if you make the call outbound or if you receive the call inbound. Okay, so we did a little bit of work with that. So we'll close that off. And we've got some queries here, and I'll just run you through these. I'm going to open it up, and this is what they call a task 1A. And here's what it appears. You've got these students by the school they've been, looks like they're by the school they've been accepted to. And it looks like that they have the GPA in ascending order and the GRE in ascending order. Well, let's go down here and take a look. We're used to working in the, we're comfortable now working over here in the design view. And you'll notice we're working with the Hollister table. And so we have the school, okay, that the student chose or has been accepted to. Then we have their GPA, and it's in descending order. Now, when we use the graphic user interface, or in most databases, if you choose fields and you do something like a sort order, it will start with the one furthest to the left. So in this case, it's GPA, then GRE. Okay? And we can go back up and look at the data sheet view, and there it is. That's all that we've done. Now, one of the other tasks that they ask us to do, and we'll look at this here, is to take these students who had applied, include the schools to which they've been accepted, put and sort them using the GPA in descending order, in other words, largest to smallest, and then their reference scores, smallest to largest. Now you'll notice that you see the GPA 3.7. This person had a 4 reference. Here's another one. We find here in this Burkle, I guess, they had a GPA of 3.6, and they had references of 5, and then we have 3 other people who had GPAs of 3.6, but they had a 4 rating, and so on. Okay? They're trying to look at some things like factors that would make these folks be successful. I think this is a graduate. Then we have them, we've run a query and look at each of them in terms of, we've got the last name, the school they were accepted to, their GPA, their GRE, and are they alumni? Yes or no? And we'll look at the design view on it. And you can see the one criteria is yes. So these would be legacy entrants. And here's this last query, okay, where we've got them sorted on the basis of GPA. We've got them sorted on the basis, we have their last name, obviously, and then by major, okay, then GPA in descending order, and then references in descending order. Now, you can get fooled by this, but if you look, you see this first person, they had GPA of 3.4 and references of 3. Then this person has a GPA of 3.3, but references of 4. Well, each of those get grouped as they're sorted, okay? And you can go into the design view and look at that and see it. Okay? Now, I'm going to close this off. We're going to run a few queries. This, like I said, this is an old case, long ago. And so we're going to click create. Okay. And I'm going to create a query. And so I want it in the query design view. And I'm going to add the Hollister table. Okay. So we've added it. Now we're ready. And let's get their last name. Now we've got 2 tables here. I'm going to remove this one. We don't need it because we've already got the Hollister table out here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get their last name. See, I can double click. I'm going to scroll down here. And I want to get their state. Right? And their alumni. And let's see what else we want to try and pull here. Well, let's start. Let's take their major. Okay. And down here, I don't remember what states these students come from, or a major. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to put double quote E, and then the wild card, which is the asterisk, and then a double quote. And what I'm going to do is get every major that starts with an E. Okay. And let's run this and see what we get. And here we are. You'll notice we have engineers and folks who major in English, and we have the states that they're from. And are they alumni? Yes. I'll go back down here and let's take a look at the design view and see what we did. Okay. And we got lucky on that query. Now, we only want those who are alumni, who are kin to an alumni. So I'm going to put when I do this, putting yes, it's going to change the output. Let's see what they put up there on the alumni. I'm going to go back to the Hollister table. for just a second. I'm going to open it up. Okay. No, yes, no, yes. Let's see what we get here. There we go. So we have everybody who majors in engineering or English, who is the child or relative of an alumni, and where they live. Okay. And you can see, looking from this, if we wanted to be even more selective, we could say, okay, California only, because there are 2 people here from California. And so I'm going to call that one task 5. Well, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. We'll call it task 5. Okay. Now I'm not satisfied with this, so I'm going to go back down into the design view. And I'm going to get we've got their major. So I'm going to get their GRE, okay, and their GPA, and I want the GRE in descending order, and I want the GPA in descending order. And let's see what we get. Here we are. Now we've identified those majors. We have them sorted by GRE, GPA. If we had enough records here, if it was 40 states or 50 states, we could target them for those particular states. We can maybe look for cities. If we go back over here, let's go back into the design view, okay? And we'll see, is there a city? And there we have the states, the address, alumni, references. You see how I can just build this. I'll do reference, all right? And I want the references in descending order. So let's take a look at what we got here. And here we go. And then we can take this query and build a report on it. Okay. One of the nice features is here, if we want, we've got their GRE score. So let's click on the sum totals. We'll click down here, and we're going to get the average GPA. And we'll go ahead and put this out here. And we're going to need to ratchet this down a little bit. Let's go in here and we'll go on. We need to reduce at the home, and we want to reduce the decimals. And I might be able to just by deleting over here. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. Let's click here. Wow. Now I want to find the way to take these joules down. We may just have to live with them. And here we'll get the average. And we can round that off if we want to. Let's see here. Back there. And we get the home. That is strange. Maybe it's over here. I want to find this real quick. Well, didn't do us much good there, but that's okay. Let's see, we got the average GRE, the average GPA. And we could limit it to say people out, folks out of Texas, well, folks out of California, because we got 2 of them. So we've run a query. I'll call that task 5. Okay. Now, and this is, there was one that has applicants by major, statistics by major, a couple of reports I'll show you. I'm going to open it up and let you see, hear me whine about these. Now, this one's manageable. And this has their GPA, has the business in ascending order. I mean, the major in ascending order, the GPA in, pardon me, the major is in ascending order. The GPA is in descending order. And the last names flow along with them, as do the references. Okay. And we could run a query and then run a report off the query, or just run the straight report. I prefer that. I prefer you would do it off of a query. And then we file up with statistics by major. And here you are. We have the majors is in descending order, the GPA, descending order, the GRE in descending order, the essay in descending order, and then the references. Well, we have the pardon me, I'm sorry, folks. We have the majors in ascending order, and then we have their GPA, their GRE, their essay, and their reference. I'm sorry, pardon me. Now let's click on this for a moment and go down to the design view. And notice over here it says add existing fields. Okay, let's do that. Click on here. And I want to add their state. And let's go see how this looks. Let's see if we've got their state on there. It's not showing up. So we're going to have to go back into, we'll go into the layout view. I thought we added the state in there. Oh. Let's just go back. Okay. And I'm going to click on properties. We've got a properties sheet here. I have an empty cell. My aversion to these And what I would do is I just take this thing and destroy it, and then just run a new query. It'd be about a little bit less work to do it. Oh, but no, we're not going to save the changes. So let's open this back up. Statistics by major. Okay. And let's click Design View. And we're going to add an existing field. And I think we're going to do it right this time. Okay, here's the state field. And here's the label. Remove it up here. And there's the state data. Where's my state? Okay, let's move this up for a minute. This is why I say they're just unwieldy to work with. Go to the layout view. And it's just not working nice for us. As you can see, I have a genuine aversion for this because I just think it's unwieldy and almost impossible to work with. Let's just open it back one more time. I'm going to try this. And I'm going to go to the design view. Okay. And I'm going to add an existing property. That's going to be state. Let's carry this on up over here. These are the data. Okay. What state? And here's the label. Move this up here some. Now I want my state label up here. I've got it mixed together. You can see why I hate this. There's the label. There's the data. There's the label. And let's see what we got. Record view. There's the state. Now, what we'll need to do is adjust this around a little bit. And you can see it's a mess. So your best bet if you're working in Access, go ahead and run the query that you want. And so if I wanted this Hollister 5, I could try to add it in over here on using the design view and the layout view, and you can see what a monster it becomes in terms of waste of time. So I'll close this, and I'm not going to save it. And I could go ahead and then run the query. And we'll just do this. We'll click Create. Okay. We're going to add Hollister. We'll get the major. And we're going to get the state. Okay. And then we're going to get the quantitative scores, which are going to be the GPA, okay, the GRE, those are the two quantitative scores. We have the GPA and the GRE. We have the state, the major. I guess let's go, well, no. Okay. And we're going to sort them by major in ascending order. Now let's run this. Okay. Here are our states. States that all of them are in. All right. And we're going to call this query. I'm going to save it as query task 6. I'll jam those two together so we got it. Okay. There we go. We'll click OK. So now we've got task 6. And we're going to close it off. Well, task 6 is a query. We haven't made a report yet. Good, that's all right. We'll close it off. Now we're going to make a report with the query task 6. Okay. So I'm going to do the report wizard, and I'm going to get it by selected fields. I'm going to get all the fields. Okay. And click next. And I want to group them by major. Okay. And I have some grouping options. Okay. And we'll go next. And we have some summary options because we have some numeric data. And for GPA, we're going to get the average. And for GRE, we're going to get the average. Now we'll click OK. Go next. And let's finish it and see what we got. Now here, unlike the other report, we chose details in the wizard. So we see the average GPA and GRE for business by state. Okay. And we did that using the wizard. Well, folks, I think this has given us something to think about and look at in terms of access case number 5. Okay. Close that off. Let's close that off. And that will do it. And so you'll want to upload your file or one of those for access case number 5. All right. And you'll see that's a recording I was making today of some virtual office hours. All right. Well, my friends, that'll do it. And this will be for both sections. And don't forget that next week, you can see these. Here's a recording for case 6. You can also see I've got these uploaded over here for you. and also over there in the files. So you can, for your workshop credit. Okay. I'm going to stop the share on this. And stop the recording.